Hey guys, I'm Chris. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. I really do appreciate it. Today we're going to be working on my 2007 Dell Inspiron 1520 laptop. Yeah, you heard me right, it's 2007. And this thing still works. It still runs, and I'll show you all about it. But before I show you all the things that this laptop can still do in 2020, I was wanting to show you about how to replace the keyboard. And I'll explain all what happened to the original keyboard that's on here. So first of all, what I'm going to do is turn it over on its back. I'm going to remove the battery. Battery's really easy. You just set these two little tabs, or maybe work one tab at a time. Remove the battery. And the battery I took out is not the original battery. The original battery got old and it was not holding a charge very well, so I went ahead and I replaced it. So the battery got in there now. Of course, well, it ain't all that much better, but at least I got a battery for just a little while. Anyway, so as you can tell, this is 2007 by looking how crusty and scratched all up and nasty and dirty this cover is. I've not gotten around yet to replacing it. Anyway, as we open it, as you can see, all of these keys are all missing. And then I'll show you all what happened in a little bit. But for right now, we're going to take our little jeweler's screwdriver, flat blade jeweler's screwdriver, is a little notch. Really can't see anything, but the little notch right here, very carefully just kind of pry that up a little bit, and very carefully, gently, also kind of flatten that out best as you can. And just kind of lift up, work yourself around till it all comes all off. And this cover never really has sat on there very flush, probably because I got this wire and cable all in the way, but there is a way to make it sit on there flush and tight. So what happened, let's see if I can zoom in so you can see what's going on. You can kind of see the gouge mark as to what happened. You probably could guess. But anyway, I was trying to replace this Bluetooth card here. I was trying to replace the Bluetooth card, and I didn't want to break it. I mean, what happened was I did have this disconnected. I had that little piece disconnected, and I just had a little card here. Well, it's locked in there pretty well with the plastic, so I was trying to not break the card itself because I was wanting to sell it. So what I was trying to do is I was taking my screwdriver and trying to flex back this little plastic tab that holds it all down. Well, with me it's not going to move anywhere. So with me trying to push back on this plastic tab, I got on the edge, and it was such a force that it decided to scratch along here, and it decided to go ahead and plow itself through the whole rest of the keyboard, and it took off pretty much all of these little plastic keys all off. I got a whole little handful of them. I'll show you all of the little pieces that go with it. It plowed through all of those little keys. It broke them all off. And here's the little plastic keys that got itself all broken all off. Some of these are broken where they're not going to sit on there very well anymore. The little plastic hold down pieces are broken off in some of these, so it's not really much good to use anymore. And then along with all of those little keys, what happened was all of these little plastic little pieces and parts all broke all off with those keys. So along with little rubber boot things, and so in one plastic piece it broke in two pieces. So I know I watched the videos, and I know there's a way you can fit these little plastic pieces together, and I tried doing that. I tried working on that, but for a lot of these, or most of these, you got these little plastic little pieces that kind of clip each other together, and a lot of them are broken off. and they weren't going to hold on to anything. So I just figured it was kind of a lost cause trying to repair it when I have those little tiny little plastic pieces all broken all off, or a lot of them broken off in several different places, and it just wasn't going to work out. And you know, and some of these are kind of lifted up a little bit, like that one. But the good news, or if there's any good news, is that these little touch pads here, they do work. It's just, you know, it's not going to be real practical trying to type on an empty spot. It does work, but anyway, so I went on ahead, went on eBay, and got myself a new plastic keyboard, and I'll show you all of that here in a second. But let's zoom back out, and well, before I do that, we're going to remove these two screws. So while I got it zoomed in, you can kind of see you got a screw here, got a screw there, and then there's another screw right here. Little screw right there. So take your little small Phillips jeweler screwdriver, this first one, going to loosen that up and take the tiny little screw and put it in a safe place so we won't lose it. Once you lose those screws, they're going to be gone. I'm going to take out this little screw here. And then we're going to take our little flat bladed jeweler screwdriver. And now we got the two screws loose or off. So now this whole keyboard is going to be able to move just a little bit. So what you do, I'm going to zoom out here a little bit so you can see. Take your jeweler screwdriver and go right along the edge right here, right in between the keyboard and the plastic case. And you have to kind of pick a spot, but there is a way, or in a little certain spot, where if you get it right in between the plastic bezel and the keyboard, this will lift up like that. And then you do the same thing for the other side. You take your little flat bladed jeweler screwdriver up here near the corner, if at all possible. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit so you can see. And you kind of put it in between best as you can, the plastic bezel and the keyboard itself. I may have to, there we go. Because this whole keyboard, it's going to move just a little bit. See, now you get that whole thing kind of come up out of there. So that's all I did, is stick my little screwdriver in between the plastic bezel and the keyboard right there, and just kind of pried it over and out and over and up. So now this whole thing will just kind of come out. You get the notches on the bottom come out there. So now I'm going to lay that there for right now at the moment, and I need to zoom you in to see the next part, because there's other videos out there and they don't really show this very well, so I want to show it to you if I can. I get you zoomed in there. So as you can see, I got the ribbon cable is latched in. It's locked in with this connector. So what you do is take your little jeweler screwdriver and just very carefully lift that up like this, and then just very carefully pull on out the ribbon cable, just like that. So pretty easy, and then the whole keyboard come on out of there. So now what I need to do, I want to show you this next, if the light's any good, is I was wanting to show you the numbers. So you get the model number on there, 1425XX. Okay, so we're going to match our numbers with the other keyboard that I bought, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the same. So it looks the same. It looks like it's the same size. Now, as you can see, the model numbers are quite a bit different. And because when I ordered this on eBay, you know, there really wasn't any option or anything to pick and choose from as to what exact model number. All I did do is I put in that I had a Dell Inspiron 1520. This says that this would work with it. So the only thing we can do now is just put it all in here and see if it's going to work. And if it don't, then we'll go on from there and figure out another way. But first of all, what we got to do, got to get this little connector going the right way, and I'll get you zoomed in here. Something like that, and just take your little finger and make sure it's gonna just double make sure again it's in there all the way best as you can, and just latch it down, and that ain't gonna go anywhere as far as I know. So now let's go ahead and get you zoomed back out. This goes in the bottom like that, and then just kind of push it down until it latches down inside the bezel. And if you have to use a screwdriver to put it down on, do that. There we go. Something like that. Being very careful not to bend anything, best just as can. So now we take our little screwdrivers. Yeah, take our little screws, I should say, and our jeweler's screwdriver, I mean. Put it back in the hole. So it's mostly flat far as best as I can tell. It's probably not going to be 100% perfect all the time, but close enough. So now I need to see if there's a way I can try to work this big video cable in the channel so that little cover would fit on there better. And I have worked on this laptop before. I've done quite a bit of work with it. You know, and now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have I should have put it all on video so you know, you can watch and learn all right along with me. But I had this thing all apart in, you know, in several big pieces. I did as many upgrades as I could. I'm gonna plug this little piece of cable back in my Bluetooth, so we got Bluetooth again. So I got that. I take my little my little cable and plugged it right back into the into that Bluetooth card. And it turns out that this Bluetooth card is better than what I had in there before. Initially when I bought this laptop, this had no Bluetooth at all. I only found a Bluetooth card on eBay a good few years ago and went ahead and I put one in. So let's see if this cover is going to get on here. Get you zoom back out. Just kind of start with putting it in there on that side and just do the best you can to try to snap it all back down. And I keep thinking I got something in the way because it never has really ever latched down quite all the way flat, but I guess that's close enough. And I can always work on it again later. So I'll close that and I'll put the battery back in it. I'll get power to it and we'll see if it's going to work. I special ordered this from Dell back in July of 2007, and originally back then this computer came with a Windows Vista. I wanted to put a Windows XP, but Dell at the time was putting out Windows Vista, so that's what I had on this laptop here when I ordered it. I'm going to press F2 for setup. And I want to show you the processor, what I got in here now. And now originally when I bought this from Dell, special ordered it, this came with, my memory was it came with a 1.6 gigahertz Intel processor. It was a dual core. And then finally, within just a few years ago or so, a good couple of years ago, I found the replacement CPU that's in there now, which is a 2.4 gigahertz CPU. I think that's the fastest I can find. And so as far as I know, this has the fastest processor it can handle at 2.4 gigahertz dual core. And so that was quite a jump up from the 1.6. And you know, back then, 2007, I was trying to keep the cost down, and so that's why I went with the 1.6. But I've always wanted a faster processor. So I had this laptop all apart, and just to replace that CPU, and I replaced the fan in it, and I gave it a memory upgrade. I'll show you the RAM. It's got the most RAM it can handle. So now initially, I think initially when I bought this laptop from Dell, I ordered it, if I remember correctly, it was like a 4 gigahertz, or 4 gigabits, I mean. I think it was like a 4 gigabit RAM. And since then I've upgraded it, so now it's at 6 gigabits. And so it's running, it's got the most RAM it's going to handle. And it's running as fast as it's going to be able to handle through BIOS and all of that stuff. So it's maxed out 6 gigabit. You know, back then for Windows Vista, that's about pretty much all you needed. And then I got the the video stuff. I was looking to see if I can upgrade the video card, but it has the best video card it's gonna have, and that's the one I special ordered from Dell. So it still has the original video card, and I put in it's got the wireless card in there. There's an option inside of it on the bottom of the laptop where I can install other cards, like I can have like an AT&T Wi-Fi card kind of a thing, and then there's another kind of network card I can put into it. So it's pretty much all maxed out, as far as I know, with everything it's going to handle. So let's get back over here to. I'll have you watch this do Windows, and now after I had Windows Vista, it was fine. It just didn't really. I wasn't just all that real crazy about it. The Windows 7 came out. And I had Windows 7 installed on this laptop for a long time, and I really, really enjoyed Windows 7 a lot. It really shined on this laptop for 2007, and wishing now today I probably would have just left it on there. So eventually what happened was that Windows 10 came around, and there's all of this talk and notification all about Windows 7 is not going to be supported, and you have to upgrade to Windows 10 for free, and and all of that kind of stuff. And that reminds me too about my hard drive. I put in a solid state hard drive. This has a Samsung 50 gigabit solid state drive, and so that was something else I put in this laptop too. So you never would have thought that this would handle a solid state drive, but it does. But anyway, so I went on ahead. I thought, well, it's for free, I guess I could try it. So I went on ahead and I downloaded and installed Windows 10, even though Dell at the time was giving all of these messages and all of these warnings and everything else you could think of, all about, well, this laptop being so old as it is will never ever will support Windows 10. Do not put Windows 10 on here. Get a brand new laptop, which I can understand. Dell's in the business to make money. They want to sell a brand spanking new high-end top-of-the-line laptop, but I just didn't have the money for it, and I just wasn't going to have the money anytime soon to be buying another laptop out of Dell when this one's working just fine. And so I thought, well, I'd much rather just see how well this will do with Windows 10, if it is going to run, if it is going to handle it, and if it don't, I still had Windows 7 at the time. I could still go back to it. Get out of here. And I'm going to go ahead and so there's Windows logo for Windows 10. And I do have the this does have the camera with it, but I rarely use the camera, so I don't have any drivers or software loaded for the camera, so I'm sure it's connected, but I don't have it running. I don't have it working. So there's Windows 10. Put in my little so yeah, you like that? So there, let's see now. I'll make sure that see if all of the keys are working. Looks like they're all working to me. Even the little Windows key works. Here's the information on the CPU as well as the memory speed. So we got the Intel dual core, 2.4 gigahertz. So it's only 2 cores in it. Yeah, it's going to run a little slow, but it still does what it needs to, especially when I'm just mostly on the internet on here. So we got 6 gigabits of RAM. Let's see, I think that's going to be, it'll be 3 gigahertz, I wonder, for the RAM speed. I wonder if I'm right on that. I don't know if I'm right on that or not, but anyway. I mean, you can see what the speed is by going off of that. I guess I wouldn't. I was thinking of gigahertz, but because I'm used to my other computer, but it's going to be 332 megahertz actually altogether. Where here we got 4 gigabit sticks. And they are G-Skill, so it's the fastest RAM that it will run. So it looks like, here you can see it can get on up to maybe 400 megahertz if it wants to overclock it. So right now, it's running at 332 megahertz for the speed, and then we got just an very old graphics card in this laptop, and it's actually not all that bad of a video card. I mean, I was running a PC game on here years ago, and it was, if I remember correctly, it was Godfather 2. I used to play Godfather 1 and Godfather 2 on this laptop, as well as the Tron games. But especially with the Godfather 2 back then, that was a pretty intense game, and this laptop was able to do it, despite the speed of the CPU and the RAM and all of that. And of course, now I had to run plenty cold air into that fan to keep it cool down, so otherwise it would overheat and then the whole game would crash. But as long as I had some nice cool air blowing into that fan, then I was doing okay to run that game, as intense as it was. Here is the Samsung software for the solid state drive on this 2007 Dell Inspiron 1520. Just wanted to bring this up so I can show you that I really truly do have the Samsung solid state drive working on this Windows 10 laptop. And like I say, there's some features that are not supported because the laptop is so old. Like you can see here, it's pretty slow, but it's pretty slow because it will not support the performance optimization. It just won't do that. It won't support it. But I do have it set up for the trim feature. That's set all up. So I still got a good deal of room on here for other programs or whichever else. So just wanted to show you that real quick. And so I got this running on my laptop, so you can too if you got a really old Dell Inspiron laptop. You can definitely fit it with a Samsung solid state drive, although there's going to be some features that won't be supported, but it will mostly work. And you can have you know, I'll have it all set up running Windows 10. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon so I won't miss anything else I might be posting a little bit later. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.